Chapter 2. Compositions by Error. I ring the front doorbell. A week later, sort of. Hi, Mrs. Garrity.
No, please call me Emma. I had to encourage him to keep up with the project. Leon has a tendency to quit things early, but I've been pushing him.
That's great, thanks. We just need to get into the swing of things. Is he up in the studio?
Yeah, go on up.
Leon, how's it going?
Life could be better, I suppose. It's going okay. I just missed Thursday on the project as I slept in and Monday was cloudy.
Show me what you have.
Well, here's the board on the balcony rail with the 5 nails. It was a little hard to get the first one, but once I got the hang of it, it was fine.
Are you saying that the first one may not be accurate?
It may be a bit off.
Why don't you do another week so we can have a bit more data? Then we can see how we're going to develop things. Have you thought of stuff that you want to explore?
There is so much stuff. I don't know where to start.
This is a critical point in our experiment here. Your education is learning to do things you want and need. Everyone's journey is different. An education system was made as a response to the Industrial Revolution to get the workers to a point where they could be good employees. A bit of reading, writing, and be able to do things on time. If you don't fit into the worker drone theme, you have to radically deny and work against that goal. So choose what and how you learn is incredibly important, as the system has a goal for you that I wouldn't wish for you. So choosing the path can be liberating when you take your education into your own hands. Sorry, that was a bit heavy, but when you think about it in that way, it is liberating and freeing that you are changing and making your own future. So I plead with you to consider well what it is you see as important. So give it some thought. I'll finish the sermon of education with a quote from Mark Twain, a great American writer who said, "Don't let schooling interfere with your education." As you think about it, I see that you have a Mac computer. Have you ever played with GarageBand?
No, not really.
What sort of music are you into?
I seem to search out rhythms and rhythm-type dance music and a mix of jazz, house, techno, and a bit of classical.
I've had some experience with this. Do you want to explore composing?
Yeah. What did you have in mind? I thought you were here to help me with engineering.
I'd rather you thought about the world you want to create through a lens of design, that deliberate creation or improvement in anything. Engineering has to do with the mechanical, and I hope that all things you do will have some practical and maybe mechanical outcomes. Well, if we have to start somewhere, let's start with Morse code. Something simple, not your choice of indicators, but something short. Longer rhythms get quite clumsy.
Let's do Go Big. That was my other option for the indicator.
So open up the program and double-click on the first track. Open up the screen-based keyboard. It's a little visual keyboard. And click out Morse code or something like it. Great. Now let's have a look. We want it to fit in with the other stuff. So let's look at the grid and fit the dots and dashes into the grid. Looking at what you've done, it seems like 2 grid spaces per dot and 4 for dashes, 2 between the letters and 8 between the words. That sounds right. You could just copy and move blocks like you're building music. Now the sound that makes can be anything, as this is working in MIDI, which is Musical Instrument Digital Interface. Doesn't matter. Where the computer holds the instruments independently and plays the note that you decide of any instrument. I've done a lot of work in traditional instruments, but let's play with synths.
Ooh, that sounds weird.
Try another one. Now click on the instrument and it comes up with all these options and dials to modify the sound. That sounds strong. Try moving the notes up and down to vary the pitch. You can select whole sections by dragging over them. Design, in general, is made up of 1,000 decisions. Should the dashes be different instruments to the dots? Now, that's not too musical, but it's an interesting rhythm base. Now we need a counter melody. Just click out some notes using the screen keyboard. Don't get too wrapped up in getting it right, because most of the time I like to work from pretty random stuff. I like to design my way into music, like a sculpture of marble, chipping away at the blocks, looking for the sculpture inside the rock. Yes, I ramble sometimes, just let it wash over you.
Cool.
Leon was pleasingly coming out of his shell. That has potential. Make that note a little deeper by pulling it down. Yeah, drag this bar and it will loop the sections, and you can lengthen the section or move it or capture different parts to the loop. This is a style of designing music. It flies in the face of many composers with specific ideas in mind and replacing it with seemingly random acts, but the design comes in ratifying each of those ideas. I'm not for one method or the other. Every different process or approach creates different results. That's the point. Quickly deciding what is good and what needs change gives a real freedom to the process. It's a way not to get stuck in ruts. Just play. Maybe look at drum rhythms in the same way. This process could go on for days and have many different pieces. And then you need to be arranged, repeated, modulated, confabulated. But the process is really satisfying for me. It aligns with something about how my brain works. Have a go over the week and I'll hear version 1 next week. Don't get too precious and be adventurous. As I left Leon's house, I started walking down the street, but I cut back and jumped over the fence into his yard to an open space where I knew that in my time there were also no buildings or vegetation. I took the fob watch mechanism out of my pocket and started the sequence, turning the dials to investigate its tiny lasers into the counter rhythms that slowly created a glow and then a bubble around me, and with a breath pulled out of me, I'm transported to absolutely nowhere, except the fourth dimension, back to the same yard, but in the one where I've lived a half a century from that day. Of all the anomalies that you could foresee in bending time, like being shorter or being given a sense of falling, the one that actually occurred was an overwhelming taste and smell of curry. It was totally unexpected, as well as unrelated in every way, but it was overpowering and surprised to the point of distraction and disorientation. Trying desperately to regain composure, I checked the time and date on my wristwatch to see if the tiny dials had misaligned and taken me off plan, but it seemed that I'd come back 10 minutes after my departure. What a relief. I go in and make a coffee and take it to the patio in the sun. The absence of my wife sits heavy on me, as she always been a strength and a joy to have someone to share life's journey. She battled cancer for a long time. Today, though, the contrast between my recent time with my 35-year-old mother creates a strange light to throw on my memories of my departed 65-year-old wife. Time seems particularly cruel. I look out into the garden from the armchair, trying to replay the sequence of the wonders of the strange day. Then, beyond hours, I thought back into the long, distant memories. I filter through the fog and start to recall a vague experience of being 14 and a weird guy in a green coat, a memory I had not had till today. I look back from the lily pillies in the garden, and in a space where the dining table had sat for 20 years, it had been replaced with a baby grand piano. I approach it like it's a genie bottle and realise that interacting with my younger self had changed my life. I moved across what is now an unfamiliar lounge room with an unstable feeling like vertigo and sat at the piano with complete unfamiliar confidence, playing Erik Satie's Grossians with great joy, and it seemed as if I'd been playing for decades.